Hi, everybody. Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days and 5 minutes. It's a Friday, the 4th of August, and we're coming up on 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Severe thunderstorm watches are up for much of central and northeastern PA. Only the southeastern portion and the southern portion of the state are out of it. Northwest New Jersey is in the watch. The Hudson Valley, mainly north of Route 84, into the northwestern quarter of Connecticut, much of Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, and of course upstate New York. And you can see all the counties that are involved here. And as we take a look at what's happening on the satellite loop, you'll see there's actually quite a few lightning strikes going on throughout New England and northern New England, through upstate New York, southeastward into east central Pennsylvania, and most of that area seems to be moving to the east. The issue is that a lot of these storms are going to peak in intensity before they reach the coastline, which is why the watch is not extended down to the coast. We have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings up at the moment. As of shortly before 4 p.m. Eastern Time in upstate New York, we've got a handful of flash flood warnings up as well, particularly one that's sitting right along I-90 to the west of Albany and to the east of Syracuse. And just for a brief moment here, you see that little red box up north of Binghamton, or northeast of Binghamton, I should say. That's a brief tornado warning that went up and then was taken down. So we're seeing severe weather being played out here in the Northeast, pretty much as advertised by the Storm Prediction Center. Otherwise, on the radar, we've got some rain showers in Maine, along and off the Carolina and Georgia coast into northeastern Florida. There are some showers and storms moving southeastward out of Tennessee into northwest Georgia, and also we have that extending down into Alabama west of Birmingham. And quite a bit of rain going on, and some downpours and a few thunderstorms in parts of North Dakota, and also back through parts of Oregon, Idaho, and Wyoming. The Southwest, eastward to Texas and Louisiana, seeing hardly any precipitation at the moment. So we're going to let this severe weather area play out. There's the Storm Prediction Center's risk zones that are up, including that severe thunderstorm watch that you see up in the Northeast. And we've got a couple of areas of slight risk in Missouri and also back through parts of western Nebraska and western Kansas, and a fairly large area of marginal risk at that. Now, for Saturday, we're looking at no thunderstorms in the Northeast other than in eastern Maine. Where there's some general thunderstorm risk and general thunderstorm in the southeast risk in the southeast and the Gulf states. We've got a marginal to slight risk from the western portions of the Ohio Valley across the Mississippi Valley and the Missouri River Valley, back through Nebraska, Kansas, and eastern Colorado, extending up into parts of South Dakota and a small portion of Minnesota. Sunday also looks good in the Northeast and into the Mid-Atlantic states. No severe weather, but we do have an area of marginal to slight risk moving into the Ohio and Tennessee Valley on Sunday. And I always say that when the Storm Prediction Center has something in their long range, it's worth paying attention to. And yesterday it was day 5. Today it's day 4. And they have a rather large area of 15%, which would represent at least a slight risk of severe weather for much of New York State, west of the Hudson, into northern New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, western half of Virginia, West Virginia, eastern Ohio, eastern Kentucky. And I suspect that this will probably be a larger area once we get closer to Monday. Tomorrow, this will go into their 3-day forecast, so we'll see what they're thinking when they update that forecast during the overnight. So when they do it in the long range, I've always said that's a good idea to pay attention to it. Possibility of flash flooding in the Northeast, and we've seen marginal to slight risk, and that makes sense because we've already seen a handful of flash flood warnings up in upstate New York. The same goes for the Southeast from the Carolina coastline, and then turning northwestward up through Alabama and Georgia. A slight risk in Missouri and western Illinois, southern Iowa, and a slight to moderate risk up in parts of North and South Dakota and in eastern Montana. Tomorrow, the flooding risks are all up in the plains and in the middle and upper Mississippi Valley. And then for day 3, which is Sunday into Monday, the risks are around the Great Lakes and also some risks from Kentucky southeastward into northern Alabama and northeastern Mississippi. Rainfall amounts over the next 7 days, and remember, all of this could be double in some local areas because all of this is convective, or most of it is convective. The northeast is mostly a half to 3/4 of an inch, so figure in thunderstorms somebody could get 3/4 of an inch to an inch and a half or more. Some patches of an inch and a half in some areas in northern and north central and in southwestern New York, in parts of Pennsylvania. You're seeing some bigger rain amounts across the Tennessee Valley, up the Mississippi River Valley, and then northwestward into the northern plains, where we have an inch and a half to areas of 2.5 to 3 inches being indicated. So really, it's all about cold fronts and the drier air masses that'll be in between them. And we've got this one coming through this evening. It'll move offshore. A dry air mass will build in for Saturday and Sunday, but this time around it won't be as robust. The drier air will probably get no further south than, say, southern Pennsylvania, northern Maryland, southern New Jersey. If you're north and east of there, you've got a nice Saturday and a pretty decent Sunday. If you're south of there, your dew points are going to be higher and it's going to be a bit more humid. But as you see, not much of anything in terms of thunderstorms. They're all out on Saturday night across the plains and the Mississippi and the Missouri River Valley. Sunday looks good too here in the Northeast. We'll be in the low to mid 80s on Saturday for highs. Temperatures Sunday in the mid to upper 80s. And then we have this a bit of more of a vigorous system that comes in for Monday with low pressure moving into the Great Lakes and across southern Canada. And there's a pretty solid upper trough with this, so we're thinking that the idea of severe weather possibilities for Monday is certainly justified and worth paying attention to. And you can see that the model does generate some heavy showers and thunderstorms late in the afternoon and evening. And also, always bear in mind, when it comes to these forecasts for thunderstorms in your particular area, they're not driving it directly at your own personal zip code. Just understand that the risk is there, and more often than not, somebody else is getting them and you're not. Or maybe you're getting them and somebody else isn't. But don't make the assumption just because there's thunderstorm in the forecast that automatically means that wherever you happen to be, it's going to be raining. And I should prepare. I should make my decisions based on that. No, you should be preparing for the risk for thunderstorms and go about your business. Just pay a little extra attention to what's going on. Just wanted to put that out there. We'll be back with the Joe and Joe Weather Show on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So mark it down. Have a great Friday night. Have a very good weekend, and we'll see you on Sunday.